I just got a new microphone, and I'm not happy with it. It's the Shure microphone, the one Joe Rogan uses, but it's the cheaper version. It sucks, and in fact this little microphone, this $15 microphone, seems to be much better. I want to apologize for the shortness of this week's video. It was a two-parter totaling 30 minutes, and I felt that was a little excessive. Today we're going to look at the World's Fair. This is the intro before the intro. Thanks for being here this week. God bless and welcome. I thought we would look at some World's Fair. We love the World's Fair. Of course, the World's Fair is a great proof for a past and great civilization existing in the world not that long ago. People that have been left out of our history, that have been replaced with a horse and buggy, log cabin, wigs and tights wearing, coming from pilgrims. And anyway, what we see is proof of something else. This particular World's Fair is Chicago. And in Chicago in the 1890s, we're told they had a fair. All the states would have a pavilion, along with foreign world governments. Canada, Haiti. Looks like they weren't sure how to spell Haiti back then. But anyway, everything that we see at this fair is said to be temporary. And really we're being led astray just with this idea. They want to tell us the temporary element for the World's Fair is that they use some kind of cheap plaster, like a plaster of Paris, but cheap. They call it staff, something they just invented in this time period, we're told. But I've said it over and over again. I don't care what you put on the outside of this building. Cheap plaster, I should put the pop filter on, or mud, or whatever, or nothing. Just leave it bare wood. That alone would still not be a temporary building. I mean, if it was all made of wood and stands, I don't know, what do we have here? 5, 6, 7 stories? Then it's not temporary. It's structurally permanent. If it has the integrity to stand, then it's permanent. Temporary is a tent, big circus tent. Even the shitty Denver airport looks temporary to me, and they spent who knows how much. But this does not look temporary. So that's the case. So the case to temporary or to not temporary. That is the question at this fair. So there's 200 buildings. Here's just, I don't know, 4 or 5. Some of them are up to 1 million square feet. This one back here looks like 1 million square footer. And they're all built in this beautiful old world detail. I mean, something you'd see in Greece or Rome, or as we've come to find in this research, everywhere. There's no exception. But we are told that this is a Greco-Roman design, along with many other names. And the waterways, just the waterways. A small pool can cost anywhere from $30,000 today. That would be cheap. A small backyard pool. What of these pools with bridges, concrete, and I can't find anything temporary in these pictures, although I have seen some junk, but 99% of it is superb. And we're told millions turned out in their horse and wagons in this time period. But really, we don't see millions. We don't even see thousands. Just a money loser. And we are told all these fairs were money losers. I mean, after the first money-losing fair, they would cease to continue. Nobody would ever invest in them. And yet they all went on through history. Still going on today, but not what it was in this time period, at least. In this time period, it doesn't seem like they did a damn thing. They may have painted although it doesn't even look very new and fresh, even in this picture. And just the size and scale of all of this makes no sense for a small fair. Just stupid. But an absolutely beautiful place to be at any point in time, then, today, and yet we're told they demolished all of this. I mean, it looks like some futuristic movie. That's it. I mean, it doesn't look like this time period. It doesn't look like these people down here. These odd, clumsy, umbrella people. And they do show us some pictures, which I don't believe are true construction photos. But they don't show us the construction of all of this. I mean, this is crazy. With water features, you would need hundreds of giant excavators, graders, heavy equipment. Just a mess for years. Even if it was built out of cake, a giant undertaking here. I mean, look at the entryway to this one building compared to these people, like little ants. This building is 20 times bigger than it needs to be. And this is just the corner. It's interesting how the mind is. My mind thinks maybe it's not interested in anything until I have a little go. I think the mind is a lying piece of shit. All of our minds. It's like this little thing that works in opposition with what really is, what we really are. I mean, there's the mind, the monkey, the little chattering bastard, and then there's the awareness, the absolute presence and awareness in every moment. Even as you're going through your ups and downs, you can recall the awareness. And even when you're old and gray and just about dead, maybe you won't be able to even utter a word, but the awareness will be there. And you can even see it in disabled people, and certainly you can see it in the animal kingdom. It's all the same awareness, and that is us, not the chattery bastard mind. Mind is like some kind of computer. It might be equated to the devil, easily impressed and manipulated. But it's also a tool. It's part of our creation, there to serve us, but with generations of programming as the ones that we see here, and all the ones that would follow, our true understanding has been lost, not just about history, but ourselves. We have been bred to work and to serve. Our schooling is designed to be a good servant, to serve a boss or someone of authority, not to think for ourselves, or even better, to not think at all, just to be. And a lot of this would begin at these World's Fairs. All the shitty food that Americans eat, I mean probably less so if you're watching this channel, but all the American processed food was introduced at these damn fairs. You're gonna have a fair like this, and you're gonna have all the crap, boxed mac and cheese, Pop-Tarts, all the new candies that are the same candies for 100 years. And really a step backwards. These people wearing suits and probably eating something more wholesome, and everything would go downhill after these fairs. Except for now. I think there is a renaissance going on right now. People are waking up. I think with their last little hoorah over the last 2 or 3 years, more and more people are waking up to the tyranny that's really been going on for quite a while. So here again we can see all these crappy little wooden chairs that have been arranged. I mean, what is this for? You have millions of people that are supposed to come. And here you can see they've painted the bottom half and maybe didn't have a ladder tall enough to paint or whitewash the top half of the building. You can see how stained it is, and really stained up here. No power washers existing in this time period. And we're told they applied a temporary plaster, but I think all they were doing was just painting. Painting, hence why they called it the White City. The white painted, or as we can see, just half painted city. And just not seeming like a fair at all. just seeming like a beautiful capital city. Really, just like all of our capitals today, having the same style, just giant domes, portholes, more flagpoles than they know what to do with, but essentially a city center, not a fair. These are buildings, real buildings, and not even new. I mean, look at this. They painted the windows, except here, except this one. And this one, and this one. They need a little bit of light. Here, they didn't paint these two, but otherwise, not even wanting to bother with the detail, because that is the worst part of painting, is cutting in around windows and doors. They said the hell with it. Paint the windows. I mean, really, if you were having a fair and you don't really have power yet, I mean, power was introduced, we're told, at this fair. You don't really have it yet. It's not really available. You're just gonna build like one building, maybe. And that's crazy. This building is over 1 million square feet. One in 200. Look at the size of this beast. What is this even for? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a temporary building that they would demolish, we're told. Stop asking questions. So what do you think of this fair, dear? I think it's boring. I gotta use the bathroom and I'm hungry. You're probably right. Again, a look at the temporariness. Right up to the water. You're gonna do the most difficult thing and build into the water? Temporary? And I say it over and over, but remark at the full growth of all of these trees. Not a construction site. Not new landscaping put in after. And it really does just get better and better. Every angle. Here we do see a tent. Here we go. A little tentage. Maybe selling some food. There you go. The World's Fair. I mean, why not serve the food out of one of these buildings? One of 200. No. We need a little tent here. A little boat. Here we can see the courtyard. I mean, it's like you're in Venice or something. Pretty bustling. In this picture, I'm not sure. It almost looks like vegetation in here. I mean, if they were people, they're really packed in dangerously. Every once in a while in the news you hear of a stampede of people, like cattle. It's really interesting. A little panic. People start stepping on each other. Here again we can really see how stained and old this building is. Just a monster of an archway. Stairs going right into the water. And look at this dome. This metalwork. It looks like it had something on the top at one point. All these columns on the 3rd or 4th level. I mean, how high up is that? Hundreds of feet. Here's 1 million square footer. Just going on forever. Here we can see the abandonment. I mean, look at this. This is where it gets kind of creepy, even for me, because I can kind of feel like I'm stumbling upon these ruins, seeing the overgrowth, and kind of getting a feel for what the inheritors must have felt. And as beautiful as the buildings are on the outside, on the inside they're very industrial, many of them. I mean, this is, again, not temporary. This is all metal. Really industrial, like some airship hangar or any kind of ship, but yet so beautiful on the outside, and then so industrial. And yet all these displays are really beautiful, but seeming like an afterthought, just kind of little buildings thrown inside this massive hangar. And it's beyond beating a dead horse. I'm not beating. I mean, it's clear to me. I think it should be clear to you. Anyone with half a brain, tell me what part of this building is temporary. Even demolishing this building would be very difficult. Again, without heavy equipment, excavators, cranes. And this is called machinery hull. It seems like anything but that. But all over the world, everything is always called a palace. Here we see the Palace of Mechanic Arts. I think they called it Mechanical Arts. They didn't want to chisel all of that. And I do think that's what they were doing, is putting these names on here. This might not even be on here. It might have been added to the photo. I think this may be one of the ones that survived. A few of them did. Well, I think that's it for today. Sorry if it was kind of short. I love you all. God bless. And I'll see you next week.